everybody loves Friday.
Yeah, we love your day.
Friday, yeah.
Except Dami said except. But I know the things he does on Friday.
Don't mind.
If I tell you.
Don't mind.
No advice you on Friday.
Charlie, what's happening? What's up?
Yes, now they. So one of the emotional cases yesterday was put to rest in relation to the Kaswa ritual murder case, the incident that took place sometime on April 3rd, 2021. Two teenagers were held for the death of Ishmael Mensah Abdallah, and the reason being that they were using him for money rituals. Now it has been established and it has been confirmed that they committed the offense together. So now we can say that they did it without using the term allegedly. But now it has been found as a fact that they killed that boy, the 10-year-old boy. So yesterday, for the first time in so many adjournments, the jury was set and then the parties were present. So yesterday, between 10, the case was called at 10:17. Yes. And then the jury returned their verdict at 2:51. You can understand the number of hours that this very case. So before Justice Lydia Osemafo, prosecution were the first to start. They addressed the jury by way of their closing address, gave them what they want to do, all the witnesses they called, and at the end of the day, they say that they were able to establish the guilt, or they were able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the two agreed together to commit an offense. The offense was murder, and the action was that they succeeded in killing the young boy, and so they should return a verdict of guilt. Counsel for the first accused person, the 15-year-old juvenile, said, look, we have from day one confessed to this offense. However, when you go in there, we didn't waste your time. When you go in there and to deliberate, return a verdict of not guilty, and everybody was like, cancel. What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you telling us? At that particular point, everybody, this one will look at this one and say, like, oh, are you playing?
Are you playing?
But in all of that, the young boy also gave condolence to the family and then apologized, in fact, to the family for what has happened. For him, all along, he's maintained the position that they did it and then they killed a young boy.
Which one? The
15-year-old boy. Now, the 10 of the 18-year-old boy who are denying the offense all throughout, he said, look, prosecution have called 7 witnesses, but I do not think they have been able to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Yes. They have not been able to prove beyond reasonable. So return a not guilty verdict in my favor. So Justice Lydia Osemafo also took her turn, summed up the trial, all that happened, the brief facts, the law, the element that ought to be proven, witnesses who were called. He drew out the consistency, the inconsistencies in all of them, and drew the jury's attention to all that they have to do. One thing that the judge was saying was that commentaries about this case outside the courtroom, they are not supposed to influence their decision or thought whatsoever. All that they are supposed to do is all the things that took place in the courtroom, not even when you open the door and come out. What you hear there is not part of what took place. What happened within the court is what they are to focus on. And they retired at 2:46. So from 10:17, we went to 2:46. In between, there was about 30-minute break around 12 to allow for another case to be dealt with. And then when we got back, they retired 2:46. And guess what? At 2:51, how many minutes? 2:46.
They returned at 46.
Yes.
They returned at 51.
2:51.
That's
5 minutes.
They returned.
Just 5 minutes.
Their minds were made
Yes, their minds were made. They were so convinced unanimously. They unanimously delivered or returned a verdict of guilty on both counts for all of them. So guilty for conspiracy and guilty for the substantive offense, which is
whose idea was it?
The 15-year-old's idea. He's the mastermind of the whole offense, and unfortunately, he's rather getting away with the offense. So all along, the narration was that he was watching the television, he saw the advert, he picked the number, went to the house of the 18-year-old boy. They discussed together, who do we get to use? And it was at that point. So who do we?
So he is 18 now.
He's 18 now. But unfortunately, they are dealing with him.
I understand why the other guy was saying that they should return with a not guilty verdict.
Absolutely.
But he was older.
He was
older. The expectation was that you were supposed to talk
Yes.
him out of it and
So
say, I'm not going to.
when you listen to the idea of who should be used as a sacrifice, it was the 18-year-old boy who proposed that.
Aye.
You, Ishmael is your friend. Can you bring him? So
Okay.
it was his idea that let's use Ishmael.
Yeah, the
and
two
then
of
he
them.
went and lured
Look at
Ishmael.
that.
And then the whole thing happened. So the judge after the incident was like, you rather you got the 18-year-old boy involved in all of this.
Yes.
But of course, as an adult, when you are 18, you are
should know
considered as
better.
an adult and you should know better. So the court imposed life sentence on the 18-year-old boy who is now 21. And then the 15-year-old boy who is now 18, because the offense was committed at the time that he was a juvenile, he's been remitted to the juvenile court for sentencing. And the maximum punishment there is 3 years. Now they did 3 years. So some people will understand why he will come to court and say that we did it. Because he knows that in 3 years' time, he'll
be out.
Absolutely. And this case, his father, his mother, and his sister all testified against him.
The 15-year-old.
Yes.
Then he's been a black sheep for long.
Absolutely. All testify against because the parents could not take it. They saw it. And it's not a family who will say that we want to shield our son because he's committed an offense. He's our son, but he's done something wrong and we want the law to do it. And that is how come they came to court to testify. But I've been speaking to, in fact, I had a briefing conversation with the one who has been sentenced online. He said, Mekwaba.
The life.
Yes, he said Mekwaba. Maybe our Kwaba, we don't know. He said there's no truth in this country. But we've been speaking to the lawyers. First, let's hear from the lawyer of the first accused person, which is the 15-year-old boy, lawyer Samuel Itia, what he has to say about the decision or the verdict of the jury and the subsequent sentencing.
The decision of return of non-guilty verdicts relies on the jury. So it is something that I said to the jury, but not to actually convince them, because that is not the position of the law. It is good because the evidence is obvious that my client, for instance, admitted to the offense. And once you've admitted to the offense, there's no way that the jury returned no guilty verdicts. But he confessed the offense to me. And once he confessed the offense to me, as a lawyer, you also ought to be an officer of the court. You ought to be very candid with the court. So once he has confessed offense to me, I asked him that he should tell the truth.
Is it because you know that he has a maximum of 3 years to serve?
Not really, not because of that. He confessed offense because he realized that in his evidence at the police station, at the indictment, and even before the trial, he said it. So it's not because that he has a maximum sentence of 3 years. Once he has told me the truth, as a lawyer, it's my duty also to help the client and the court that the truth ought to be told, because we are looking for truth and justice.
So that is lawyer Samuel Itia for the first accused, the now convict, giving us why he was telling the jury to return a not guilty verdict and the fact that their clients confessed to them. So that's the representation that he has. But the second accused person, now convict, Nicholas Kinney, his lawyer said that all throughout, he's denied the offense right from day one. But for them, they feel very disappointed though, but the law has spoken. Let's hear from lawyer Lawrence Bwampong.
Makes me feel very bad, but the circumstances of this case, we can't say much. You were in court throughout the trial, and you had the evidence on record. There was little we could do. Just like counsel for first accused said, it is a duty of our client to tell us the truth, give us the facts as they are. Throughout the trial, we asked him whether he committed the offense. He denied to us. And there was nothing we could tell the court apart from what he has told us. So it's a very difficult case for us to do. Though my senior, Martin Pebu, was called upon by the court to extend his pro bono services to the second accused. And you heard my lady throughout the trial. We have done our best representing the second accused. But this is the decision of the jury, and we respect it.
Are you going to appeal?
We do not have the instructions of our client yet. And today was the verdict and the judgment. We need to apply for the judgment, study it. Then thereafter, if we have the instructions of our client, and if there is merit in appealing, we'll look at it. But for now, I can't say much about appeal.
So that is a lawyer for the second convict, Nicholas Kinney, lawyer Lawrence Buampong. He was representing Martin Kpewu. They did this case as on pro bono because the court just made sure that there's a representation for the second convict. But in all of this is the family. Yeah, the family all along they've been disappointed because every now and then the case is deferred, judgment is deferred, sentencing is deferred, your jury was not set and all that. Yesterday they say that for the family, once somebody has been punished, they are satisfied. Let's listen to Mr. Harrison Mensah.
The family is satisfied, even though we've lost our son. This should serve as a deterrent to any other person who wants to take the law into his or her own hands. It wasn't easy. We were only waiting for judgment to be given so that we go back to our various homes to go and continue wherever we have left off. Mind you, because of this issue, my brother has lost his job that he's doing, his private business, and he's in debt over 180,000 Ghana cedis, which we don't know where to go and find those monies to pay off those debts.
Because of this case?
Yes. So once judgment has come, we'll go back and then strategize and know and see how we could pay off those debts.
Have you been able to speak to the mother of Ishmael?
We've not been able to establish contact with her as we speak, but I'm sure from here she'll get the news that judgment has been given and Kinney is going in for life, and that will be the reward for her.
So that is the family of the deceased, Mr. Harrison Mensah.
The cruelty levels, it's crazy.
And Justice Lydia Osei-Mafo said something Nadede. This is very, very important. I wish I would just read it for the hearing of it. If we can even end the show at that particular point in time, it means that it is very key for parents of this generation. The judge is much concerned about the way we put out. And this is what Justice Lydia Osei-Mafo said, look, the parents of the present generation are asleep, while their children, who should be made to be sleeping by them, are widely awake. The consequences is silent pandemic, eroding our society and condemning our future generation to a life of trauma. She also made a quote from Hillary Clinton, where they make reference that when parents neglect their children, society pays the price. And then nothing but parental neglect has brought us this far. And if we don't take care, the very foundation of this nation will be destroyed. Clearly, if there were some parental diligence in this whole matter, because if you listen to the narration of the thing, the 15-year-old will talk about father. When he came home, the mother and the father had locked the door, and he was sleeping on a bench outside. And he realized that he met the 18-year-old boy who said that, go home and come. He said, okay, if he's living in one end, why don't I go to him? And he went to him, and that's where this whole thing started. And here we are. So that's what happened in relation to this Kaswa ritual. But finally, there's justice for the family. And for the family, once somebody had been punished, they are satisfied.
It will not bring your child back, but
the award is not coming back.
Then the quick one about, I mean, we had Oliver on the Star Chat, but there was a development in court prior to that.
The Democracy Hub matters. You noticed that 2 days ago, Tuesday, I might say, a set of 9, 7 of them were discharged. And so yesterday, when we were going to court, a lot of things were happening. What was going to happen? Truly so. 4 more were discharged. And guess what? You notice that when the incident happened, we saw Oliver taking a vehicle, car key of the police, and then went away with it. He was charged for stealing. Yesterday, prosecution filed a new charge sheet, and they dropped that charge against him, and 4 male persons were arrested. But after the court sitting,
4 more people were arrested, or had their charges
yes, were
dropped?
freed. Yes, were freed. 4 more were
but
free.
Still, they spent over 2 weeks
that
in
one,
custody.
You can't take it away. When they are writing their history, they'll add how many days, 2 or 3 weeks in custody.
For a non-custodial sentence.
Oliver Barker has been speaking moment after the case was adjourned, and let's listen to him.
We can all agree that it's nothing but criminal arrogance that the state is refusing and knows that they have to drop these charges that make no sense. But I think one of the things we can all agree is that the extent of shame is very limited in terms of what they do and how they are proceeding in this matter. We're expecting that this was going to happen, and in fact, for everybody. In fact, but again, we know that what is going to happen is that they're going to delay. The matter has been adjourned to the 27th of November. The lawyers say for mention, meaning that we're just to come, the name of the case will be mentioned and adjourned again. It is unlikely that in December the trial is going to start. So we know for a fact that if the government loses, that they would have ended their regime with these charges still pending. Whatever happens in December 7th, well, we will see what that effect it has on the matter. But let's be clear. Our positioning and the things we're going to be doing have nothing to bear with what the state decided to do. Whether they want to prosecute or whatever they want to do, we have our own course of action that we're going to be undertaking. But it's important that we remember the genesis of this conversation. Because it's not only about this attempt to distract the Ghanaians with these criminal charges.
So that is Oliver
Barker.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yesterday after he appeared in court together with the others and the case was adjourned. The fresh charge sheet was filed.
Okay.
4 more have been
discharged.
So for now, we know that 11 people have been set free as at this particular. But you remember the issue about the Snitch OBS case? Ernest Thompson and some 4 others are before the court. What is clear now is that prosecution called 10 witnesses, closed their case. The accused person said they haven't been able to prove anything for us to open our defense. So Justice Henry Anthony Kofi has fixed November 29 to make a determination as to whether there's a prima facie evidence or not. So submission of no case will be ruled upon by Justice Henry Anthony Kofi on 29th of November.
All right. Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent.